Hi, everybody. Can you hear me? Yeah, mic'd? I'm mic'd. And here's my clicker. Hi, how are you? You're good. You know, I really like to treat these things like a family gathering. If it's won't take too long and won't embarrass you too much. Can everybody just move toward the middle? Come on, let's get close. Can you? You guys, come on. Let's just move. 2 seats in. Everybody, 2 seats in. Come on, come on, come on, come on. While you're doing that, I just want to say thank you to Chris and the Startup Grind crew for making me their crazy aunt here in Melbourne. As was mentioned, I'm Shira Levine. I've lived in Australia for just a little over a year. I'm what you might call a Silicon Valley refugee. Well, when that guy came in office in the States, we decided to escape, and we did. So I've been here for a year, and I'm so proud to tell you that I've spent 20 years working in Silicon Valley, mostly in consumer-related companies. Did a 7-year stint in the early days at eBay, then ran Zynga, the global gaming company's 300 million person global community. And the job that I left to come here was at Sephora, the global beauty brand. And really one of the only bad things about moving to the lucky country was leaving a job I loved with Sephora. And anyway, before you ask, the thing I miss the most about the States is Mexican food. And those from Melbourne, before you ask, West Coast Eagles, okay? Sorry. I married a guy from Perth. Okay, so that's about me, but what about you? How many of us here are founders? Raise your hand. Good. How many of us in the audience are funders? Oh, they're hiding in the way back. And how many of you are looking for talent right now, looking for people to hire? Raise your hands high. And how many of you are looking for your next opportunity? Raise your hands high. Okay, I want you guys to look at each other. Okay, so we're here to talk about the art and science of customer engagement. So what is customer engagement? Can anyone tell me? What is it? You guys over there, what's customer engagement? What? Your relationship with your customer, that is fantastic, exactly right. It's everything that happens with your customer after they join, absolutely everything. But why does it matter? Well, data tells us that a customer that you have engaged is actually worth 23% to you or more in terms of share of wallet, profitability, revenue, and retention. So that's a Forbes data point right there. So, but then the question is, well, how do you do it? And I've built my career on basically working on retaining the customers I have, or as this picture shows, loving the one I'm with. And it makes a lot of sense, really, because if you make love to the customer you already have, you're way more likely to get more sales out of them, and they're way more likely to bring people to your company. And there are some winners out there who specialize in customer engagement. Here are 3 easy ones to talk about. Sephora, my former employer, they really win on loyalty. The brand relationship with the customers transcends the transactional and is emotional. People feel like they're in an emotional relationship with the company. Another great example is Apple. Have any of you been to the Apple store in Chadstone? Yeah, it doesn't feel like retail, right? It feels like sitting on a park bench. In fact, when you walk in and they ask if they can help you, they say, your helper will meet you at the 3rd tree on the left, right? So it doesn't even feel like retail anymore. It feels like something totally different. It's a beautiful experience. And Lululemon, which has taken Australia by storm, also likes to connect customers with each other. They facilitate real-world relationships so that you can see how the brand works in the real world on people's bodies. But how do they get there? So this part of the talk is all about the art and the science of customer relationship. Now, those of you who already have customers understand that you will be able to, or that you're already segmenting customers. So some customers are gonna have certain potential value to you. Some customers are going to provide certain value to you. And once so for example, this could be the science part of customer engagement, a simple segmentation based on behavior. But once you do that, then there's an art part. So who can tell me what the 80-20 rule is? Pareto principle, anybody? Yo! Bueller. 80-20 rule, anyone? Yes? Of your customers. What's your name? Jasmine just said 80% of your value comes from 20% of your customers. Jasmine, you are totally right. But the internet, and particularly e-commerce and marketplaces, that principle or ratio is totally collapsed. In fact, in every e-commerce and retail online, about 1% of your customers provide 90% of your value. Now, the art part of knowing that through data and your customer base is that you can take what's working for the top 1%, syndicate it through content down to the rest of the segments, and use that information to motivate everybody else. A really obvious example of this is Amazon Prime. They saw that they had a certain nucleus of customers who did more business than anyone else, and they made an offer to you to force you up the funnel so that you would buy more. You bought yourself into the value chain, making yourself more active. This dynamic, or this art of customer engagement, is known as the Shiramid. And the way that you manage it is named after my first boss in Silicon Valley, the inimitable Meg Whitman, and Meg stands for manage, engage, and grow. So if you manage the people in the top 1% and you engage everyone else up the pyramid, then the whole universe of your customers will grow. Got it? Good. How'd you do that? I don't know. Another way to think about customer engagement is the omnichannel approach, and there's even a startup outside pushing an omnichannel solution here today. So an omnichannel approach is wanting to have a total view of your customer. And just to take it a little one step further and tell you how global beauty conglomerate Sephora takes an omnichannel approach, they leave no part of the customer value chain untouched as far as engagement. On the web, in the green stripe, they actually break products on the web. They've trained their customers to go first to the web to see what's new. They also use their web properties for loyalty. You can use your loyalty points that you accumulate to go onto the web and redeem them. In the store, they provide unparalleled customer service, and the employees at the store level are totally empowered to solve your problems for you and to make you look beautiful. And on the support side, again, the support is personalized and effective, and the people on the line or online or in person-to-person chat are empowered to solve your problems. Moving around to the purple segment, on socials, Sephora has an extremely beautifully curated set of social media that really always leans in and optimized for sales and to give the customers what they want. And uniquely, as part of the loyalty program, which has 18 million people in it, all loyalty members of Sephora are entitled to join the Sephora Beauty Insider community, which I'm so proud to tell you I ran for the last 2 years. And that's a place where beauty junkies can just geek out on the latest lipstick or whatever it is they're talking about that day. And then another thing they do is they offer their editorial everywhere. You can actually opt in to get an SMS while standing in Union Square in San Francisco that tells you when something new goes on sale, thereby forcing you to walk into the store at that time. That is the ultimate example of omnichannel approach, and I encourage you to think of omnichannel as a really interesting key to customer engagement. So I just want to really summarize, and then I really, really want to hear from you. I kept it short on purpose. I want your questions. There are 3 major rules to customer engagement. One is think big, but start small. And one thing I really appreciate about what prior speakers said today, especially Nikki from Blackbird Ventures, is it really is all about the customer. And if you devote yourself to thinking about what will delight the customer and why is the customer there in the first place, then they will always come back and your engagement efforts will pay off. The next is test everything, especially those of you who are starting up. Hopefully you have a very committed beta set who's willing to give you feedback, who wants to be involved with you or in the kitchen with you, as I like to say. Involve them in your decisions, ask them questions. They love to be heard from. And finally, just to reiterate, always, always, if you think about what the customer wants, then you will win at engaging them forever. So let's have your questions. Yeah, what's your name? This is Danny, and he wants to know, with the rise of marketplaces and the decline of direct-to-consumer, do you think customer relationships will change as a result of that dynamic? Is that the question? So yes, and I'm going to say there is a move toward that. And in America in particular, everybody's selling something like they feel like they're being blackmailed by Amazon, that Amazon is the only game in town, that they have to use it or else they won't have a customer base. But in the same time this dynamic is growing, another dynamic is mushrooming, and that's the direct-to-consumer business, which is totally on fire. That's Dollar Shave Club and all the boxes of makeup and home goods you can get, and a great Australian cleansing company. Has anyone ever heard of Co? It's a cleansing system. It's all natural. If you're on Facebook and you're a woman over 30, you've heard of it because they're reaching you with their targeting campaign. But Co is a direct-to-consumer cleaning system for your home. I mean, it's heavy to ship, and they have something like 2 million subscribers. So I believe that consumer demand for recognition is always going to win over marketplace platform. And I'm someone who started their career at eBay. So I love marketplaces, but you should always grab an opportunity to be in a direct relationship with your customer. I think the scarier answer is platforms as social media, the social media platforms such as Facebook. Like, if you're using Facebook entirely for your marketing, then you don't own the customer. And as we've seen, actually, the Russians own the customer. So you have to be very careful about who you choose to partner with. And yeah, it's a balancing act. But more and more companies are going direct. Even Sephora, where I worked, all the brands they carry there, and Sephora prides itself on breaking brands and having exclusive distribution, just like The Iconic does. All those brands now have their own e-commerce option. They don't make it easy. You know, it's harder, but they're building their own customer database. Yeah, you in the front. What's your name? Scott. Oh, I'm so glad you asked. Scott wants to know, what are the tips for customer engagement on a B2B model, business to business? Scott, everybody wants to be recognized. If they're paying you, they want to hear you say thank you. The users of your, so it's a business product. Yeah, the people paying the bill still want to be engaged. And even if that means, let's just say you do an online payments platform like an Afterpay. Let's just take Afterpay, who's a client of mine. Afterpay have tens of thousands of small businesses using the service to make payments easier for consumers. Well, there are Afterpay customers, let's say 1,000 or 2, in the Melbourne metro area. For Christmas, couldn't Afterpay get them together in a room and say thank you? Couldn't Afterpay have paid for all of them to come here? Couldn't Afterpay have sent them all a jar of jelly beans? I don't know, something nice. So, or just to say thank you, that engagement comes in all kinds of packages. And to answer a specifically B2B question, when I ran eBay's Power Seller program, which is the program of people who make their living selling on eBay. So it's marketplace, sellers, consumers. When I ran the seller band, what we discovered is that the power sellers were a community of small business people. And instead of treating them like consumer customers, we actually changed the whole program so that we were speaking to them as business people. And that's where I developed the Pyramid, because whatever's working for them to make them healthy, happy, and sitting on their butts selling more product on eBay is also good for us. So we found those win-wins, and we just rewarded them with win-wins, such as, in the States, we don't have federally standardized healthcare. So we gave them discount cards for prescriptions and discount cards for prescription glasses, because it's not subsidized by the government. And we gave them enough for themselves and all of their employees. So by that, we created great engagement and definitely retention and a whole lot of goodwill. And we won, because everyone sitting in the chair was happy, healthy, they could see, and they could sell more on eBay. Does that answer your question? Who else? This guy. What's your name? Jared.
So,
I love that question. Oh, thank you. Would you mind saying it again, Jared, or you want me to summarize?
I can do it, yeah.
Okay, great.
So creating communities is nuanced and difficult. I found in the beginning of my businesses and brands I've created. And obviously what you want to avoid is creating a community where it's so completely obvious that the community's purpose is to sell something. So how do you go about avoiding or creating a transparent community so that people still derive value from it, but at the same time is still valuable for your business?
Yeah, great question. I hope everyone heard. Did they? Okay, so first of all, I'm gonna do two things with you. I'm gonna be Buddhist with you. So first of all, begin with the end in mind. So if you say that the end is really about wallet share or upsell or cross-sell, then how might you be transparent about that and have community? Like, first of all, consumers or business customers, their bullshit meter is at an all-time high. If you are not sincere, they're gonna know it before you do. So you gotta come into it with I sincerely want to grow. Community of buyers, can you sincerely help me grow? And they will either say yes, or they may say yes, and please reward me. So you can say, okay, everyone who brings a new customer gets a $20 or 20% off or whatever. And you see those models out there all the time. And if you are transparent and sincere with your aims of your community, then they will be transparent and sincere with their engagement with you. I mean, they're humans after all. And you're absolutely right. This is the most nuanced part of business. You could be the most brilliant engineer in the room, but at the end of the day, brother, you better relate to your customer. And if you can't, then give me a call. But seriously, like you gotta, hopefully you came from your customer. You're solving a problem that you had. We heard from all these entrepreneurs in the pitch session, they were solving problems they had. A diver who couldn't find great trips to go on, a differently abled person who wanted to go on trips. Like these are out of necessity comes invention. So great question. We might have time for one more, even though I'd love to have 10 more. You in the middle top. Start by saying your name. And while the mic is going to him, the last question, be getting it. Get your question going, because I'll wedge one in before they use the hook and take me off. Okay.
Hello.
What's your name?
I'm Matt.
Hey, Matt.
Hi. I love the jelly beans analogy. Sorry, is this too close? It's fine.
Go up.
The jelly beans analogy. I loved it.
Why do you work at Dulux?
Pardon?
No, just a joke. Just a joke. Go ahead.
Anyway, so in the age of reduced profit margins, I'd like to understand from the customer engagement perspective, how do you qualify to your employees the softer side of customer engagement?
I love this question. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so yours is like a perfect segue to Jared's question, which is like, how do you do it right? And Matt, your question is, how do you pay for it? You cannot invest in engagement without resourcing it. bottom line. So if you are not ready with the firepower or the human resources, don't even do it. Now the good news is, so that's the kind of like mediocre news, but the good news is this, that there's a million tools and a million ways to touch your customers now. Most of them are at scale. Some of them are cheap or free. You may have to negotiate away your rights to owning that customer to use the free ones. And also, because every millennial and Gen Zer on Earth uses social media, many of them know how to moderate social media and uphold the rules. So if you are going to attempt something like this, then please go hang around Monash and RMIT and Melbourne Uni, not in a creepy way, but to hire awesome social media people who can monitor, engage, and manage the people who you're trying to engage and all the comments. Does that get to your question? You bet, bud. Who else? Where are the ladies? Come on, girls, ask me a question. That's what I noticed. All the women knew the answers to my questions because they're smarter, and all the dudes are like, tell me more. So, anybody else? Yeah, you, yay.
Hi, my name is
Hi, what's your name?
Monique.
Monique?
Yes, yes.
Nice to meet you.
I'm building a product at the moment, leather bag, and my first shop is in eBay. I love eBay.
Yeah, eBay is the
Yes,
best.
yes. And then when I putting my own brand, I'm actually struggling with the selling because of I put some promotion as well. I pay more to promote my brand because feel like eBay is more like for bargain place, and I'm targeting a luxury market.
Yeah.
So what strategy do you want me to use to actually target that market? Do we have a luxury market within eBay, like the community, or because we love bargain, that's why yeah. So what do you think about that?
Does everybody get the question? It's a luxury brand trying to sell on eBay. I would say that is not a great fit. I mean, if you're not getting the customers you want there, then you're fishing in the wrong pond.
Yeah, that was
So
thinking as well. Yep.
one great way to think about engagement is if you are, let's say, creating an app that helps manage a family schedule, you probably wouldn't go to a golf club, do you guys call them golf? Country club? Is that a thing here? Like a golf center to market your family app. But you would go to a school fete to manage to sell a family app, because that's where the families are. So if you're looking for luxury buyers, my advice would be, shouldn't you just set up a kiosk in Chadstone for a weekend?
I have my own website at the moment, but that's my original shop. So I was thinking, I don't want to close that shop. I'm just wondering how can I actually changing it to become my own shop within the
Yeah, I understand. You want to be your own. You want to be your own shop. You have to have market traction first, so that people seek you out. Yeah. And in another forum, I'd love to brainstorm with you.
Yeah. how can I engage my customer within eBay, like community-wise? Because I heard about social selling.
Yeah, you're not allowed to do that on eBay.
Yes. Okay.
You can't. Like, in other words, you can't go to YouTube and try to poach filmmakers to come populate your new film website.
Yeah.
When they find you, they kick you off.
Yeah.
Or when I worked there, anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, very last
Thank
question? Or no, very last. Who's got one? No. Okay, good. Time for me to go. Thanks, everyone. I'll be out advising startups on the picnic tables after this, so please come see me with your questions and keep the faith, y'all. You got this. Nice to meet you.